Hello, this is News Review. My name is Lamin Jai. Coming up on this show, Gambians have their say on the current state of the country. GDC explains recent resignation of some members. We'll bring you full reports of these stories, but first we will begin with the newspapers, and I'll start with the Standard newspaper. The Standard newspaper today is reporting that Majanko says Dabo disrupted government. Sana Sabali's orderly confesses to killings. Police hunt suspect in Buba Jame murder. Ahmadiyya Gambia condemns New Zealand mosque attack. We will go through some of those stories. Majanko says Dabo disrupted government. Nominated member of the National Assembly and one of the men claiming to be the leader of the National Convention Party, that is NCP, Majanko Samusa, has claimed that Usainu Dabo was sacked as vice president because he was a disruptive figure in the government. Speaking in a Star FM interview yesterday, Majanko said the UDP leader's sacking is not a political suicide for President Barrow, saying that Dabo and the other sacked ministers were also not performing as expected by the Gambian leader. They did not deliver. They were destabilizing the government's transition. It is only the UDP supporters who will claim being betrayed by President Barrow, because when we were forming the coalition, Dabo was in jail. We would have expected him, that is Dabo, to see President Barrow as his own son and not to serve as a detractor. The truth is that Dabo is the one who split the coalition, Majanko alleged. He said the president has the prerogative to sack anyone in cabinet in the interest of the country. This is a transitional government, and the last thing you would want is to have people in government who are detractors. We all know the situation in which this country was before the coming of President Barrow. Usainu Dabo was in jail when we all came together to vote Jammeh out. We would have expected that he will serve as an inspiration and not as a detractor, Majanko said. Government pledges to respect all rights obligations. That's written by Omar Bah. The Solicitor General Cherno Marena has reaffirmed the government's determination and commitment to its human rights obligations, especially the 9 human rights treaties the country is signatory to. The senior government lawyer made these observations at a periodic reporting training on the Gambia's international human rights obligations and sharing of best practices organized by the ministry at Ocean Bay Hotel yesterday. We are now in the trajectory to become champions in human rights that we have always been known for, he asserted. However, Marena said signing human rights treaties alone is not enough, saying the country is subjective to constant review of its human rights practices and developments, adding that it is in this period that the Gambia is scheduled to undergo a review of its human rights records for the second time under the Universal Periodic Review in November. Ahmadiyya Gambia condemns New Zealand mosque attack. This is a press release. Last week, the world woke up to the sad news of the massacre of 49 innocent Muslims during Friday service in a mosque in Christchurch City, New Zealand. Among the dead were innocent children. Ahmadiyya Muslim Jamaat Gambia joins the entire peace-loving people of the world to condemn this heinous act against humanity. Police hunt suspect in Buba Jame murder. The Gambia Police Force has named one Buba Drame as a suspect in the killing of Buba Jame, who was shot on Saturday in a communal land dispute between Berending and Gunjur. In a statement signed by the Public Relations Officer of the Police Force, ASP Lamin Jai, the police also called for help to apprehend the suspect. The statement urged the public to provide any useful information regarding his whereabouts. The suspect, Buba Drame, is a young man approximately 6 feet tall with a medium build. He is dark in complexion and has mustache. He looks young, perhaps between 30 and 35 years of age, the statement said. Meanwhile, the Office of the Inspector General of the Police implores the people of Gunjur and Berending to exercise maximum calm and restraint while thorough investigations are conducted. Sana Sabali's orderly confesses to killing by Baba Silla, a former orderly to AFPRC Junta Vice Chairman Sana Sabali, yesterday confessed to the killing of the detained soldiers accused of plotting a coup in November 1994. John C.B. Mendy, in his evidence before the Truth, Reconciliation and Reparations Commission, confirmed participating in the shooting of Basiru Barrow and Dotfal, who were detained at the Fajara barracks with other officers and soldiers.
Mendy recalled that when Barrow, Fall, and Sir Jackal were brought to the barracks, Sana asked them to be taken out of the vehicle, following which he ordered for them to be shot, which they did, resulting in the death of Lieutenants Barrow and Fall. Mendy, however, denied participating in the execution of captured soldiers who were lined up at the Brikama firing range for execution. That's what we will have on the Standard. We will go to the Point newspaper. The Point newspaper is reporting that alleged Gunjur Berending killer warned of imminent death if JCB Mendy says he participated in November 11 shootings. That's same as the Standard newspaper. Prosecution defends power over tendering of documents. That's a court report. Police in search of alleged killer over Gunjur Berending land crisis. That is same as the Standard newspaper report. The Point also is reporting that tourism minister sheds light on Janjanbureh slave house orders. Ahmad Bah, the Minister of Tourism and Culture, has said that the conservation, interpretation, and presentation of the historic buildings of Janjanbureh have for long presented a dilemma to the National Center for Arts and Culture. Mr. Bah was responding to a question asked by Honorable Alaji S.B. Silla, the member for Nyani, that's the National Assembly member for Nyani constituency, as to what plans his ministry had for the development of the 3 touristic sites on the island of Janjanbureh. According to the tourism minister, the so-called slave house constitutes a misrepresentation of historical facts because the relevant historic building and its so-called dungeon or cave date to a period long after the abolition of the slave trade. It is established fact that the building was a trading house belonging to the CFRO, and its spaces, including the cellars, was referred to as slave dungeons or caves, are reminiscent of European buildings of that period of legitimate commerce and the onset of colonialism in the 1890s. He said the building style and materials can also be found in other warehouses built by European traders in Banjul and along the river. That's all for the newspapers. We will quickly move on to our first story. It has been a little over 2 years since President Adam Barrow came to power. So the FATU network has been out and about since the development of the country has been a matter of national discourse. So the FATU network has been out about to talk to people, to ask them of their opinion as regards the state of the country. More in this report.
Welcome to another Vox Pop on the FATU Network. My name is Jaka Sisi Jaite, and today we're here at the University of the Gambia at MDI Road. We're here to ask the people on their opinion on whether the President Adama Barrow, deserves a second term in office or not, and what their expectations are as Gambians towards the government of the Gambia.
Well, the fact that the government is not stable is actually an alarm for everyone out there. I mean, I think part of the reasons why we voted Jammeh out was because the past government was actually not this stable as well, and there were a lot of informations going in and out. There were a lot of dismissals of ministers and appointments, and that was actually a disturbance to Gambians, because it's not actually also telling well about of a president to appoint ministers in less than few months. You dismiss them. So I think that is actually something that does not tell well about the government.
Well, legally speaking, he deserves a second chance. The Constitution empowers him. But then looking at the sense of direction we are heading, I think he needs to leave after serving his first term.
Okay, reasons as to?
Reasons is I think he lacks the sense of direction. Security-wise, the nation is collapsing. We've seen land disputes ever since they come. And then the government seems to be reactive and not proactive, which is very much hampering the security and other sectors.
For the Gambia now, I really feel that people are not involved in the development of this country. I mean, when we say democracy, the first concept that comes to people's mind is a government that is concerned about the people, that listens to the people. But I feel that is not what is going on. Our government is showing us that they don't really care. First of all, the Constitution has empowered the president to an extent that we create our own dictators. He can sack ministers at any time. You know, we've already seen that going on. Every Friday is a new news in the Gambia, see? And another thing is ministers resigning their positions because other people in their party have been sacked. I feel the love for our nation should come first before any other thing, before any other party.
So how do you see President Barrow's government? Like, do you think he deserves a second term in office, or do you think after his first term in office he should just relax?
Well, legally speaking, he deserves a second chance. The Constitution empowers him. But then looking at the sense of direction we are heading, I think he needs to leave after serving his first term.
Okay, reasons as to?
Reasons is I think he lacks the sense of direction. Security-wise, the nation is collapsing. We've been seeing land disputes ever since they come. And then the government seems to be reactive and not proactive, which is very much hampering the security and other sectors.
I don't think it's about deserve because, well, we were not there when they were signing their agreements. What we are told is that they have a gentleman agreement that the president would go down after 3 years. So if I were able to speak to the president today, I would tell him to step down after the 3 years is completed. That is not only saying he's a gentleman. It is actually showing that he has integrity and he's also respecting the Gambians. And I'm sure this is something that 75% of the Gambians out there would really appreciate if Barrow can do. If he can actually step down after 3 years, he's also going to earn our respect forever. So if he does not step down after 3 years, well, we will have to vote after the 5-year or the term is finished. And honestly speaking, I don't think he would win the elections.
No. I definitely don't think so. I honestly do not think so. Because, in fact, I read his interview where he said he's not even sitting yet and people want to coup d'etat him. Whatever that means, I don't know what he means. But to me, he has already sat. It's over 2 years now. And I think, really, second term is not what Barrow deserves.
Wow. Abe keno latile kantu odi penta doko la bulu. Ya bondi je ko tinyaro. Barrow na ta ko doko. Ni Barrow e doko cha fangala ma cha moy. Ni yallo ay doko cha. Odo ko ya che dunia mobe content next election na lot mol ba bulala no mala be ka do
da content ci liggéey ba content na ci liggéey
content na ci liggéey parce que li mo liggéey ala mal ala senem bi te man te content kan kunu membe je biwol man tara ke to content ala do ko la ay men do ko ndabe do ko kelal abe do ko kan ndabe do ko kelal abe do ko kelal nda content ala do ko la andu ngalon ko ning ay do ko che mol nyaayaji kanda sita do ko la kam do ko je fo e banku moli ye bal je ko la don ko do ko e kontan abe nalo tabe wina ay winale
barka baaje
ifana ya barbi
kontaanuma ci dal kontaanuma ci parce que dëkk bi léegi daal nu mel sàcca yi bari nañ lu nekk criminel yi bari nañ bés bu nekk nga déggal lu bees te loolu daf ci war a jël matuwaayam dëkk bi warut a demee noonu nu
foog nga ne Barrow su naree taxaw pour election waat dina nekk président.
mun na koo nekk de mbir yàlla la waaye man xam naa ne man moom duma ko saanil moom waaw man duma ko saanil mun naa am nag parce que yàlla mooy fooli mooy teg yàllaa ko fa teg su ko waree fooli rek dina génn waaye xam naa man moom duma ko saanil moom.
coow li dafa bari torop bu fi mu nekkee nii mun naa wax ne gouvernement bi fi mu toll nii kenn mënatu a xam naka la moo doxee daal nit ñi sax xamatuñ lañ war a def ak lañ warut a def waaye nag lépp lu ma ci gis rek man moom damaa jàpp ne sant yàlla because of ki ñu yàlla jox moom am naa 100% ne nekk na koo xamante ne njiit la because of fu mu teg tànkam man xam naa ne suñ ko mayee doole rek laa la wax ni dooleel ko si loolu rek dina nekk koo xamante ne vraiment dina yóbbu seen réew mi kan.
luñ mun a ñaan su yàlla lañ war a jiital teg si Adama Barrow na di liggéey dëkk bi ñu liggéey ndax ñun ñu ngi si gannaawam tey ñu ngi si gannaawam suba ndaxte su dëkk bi neexee ñun ñëpp ay kontaan su naxaree ñun ñëpp naxar bi yëpp si ñun lay nekk ndax dereti bopp weesuwul mbagg ndax ñun yëpp bu neexee daal ñun ñëppay kontaan bu naxaree ñun ñëppay si ñun yëpp lay naxari ñu ngi ñaan yàlla daal dëkk bi daal nañ bànneex bi yokku jàmm ji yokku loolu la ñuy ñaan saa su nekk di ko ñaanal bépp jullit.
Viewers, you've heard the opinion of the people on whether President Barrow deserves a second term in office or not. We've been to the market, you've heard it from them, we've been to the University of the Gambia, and you've heard it from them too. So till we come your way next time, it's a bye-bye.
We'll now go to the Gambia Democratic Congress, where the party has been reacting to the resignation of some of its members. The public relations officer or the spokesperson of the party, Mambajing Jai, has been speaking with Omar Wali with regard to these resignations.
FATU Network, we are the spokesperson for the Gambia Democratic Congress. And today, as you have seen on the papers, that the Standard published that dozens of people, or 6 people have resigned from the GDC. And in an interview with the local paper, you said GDC is not affected by this. What exactly do you mean?
Well, just as I have said, among the people that have been said to have resigned, it is only one of them, Abdullah Cham, who was an executive member. But the rest are supporters, obviously, of the GDC at the constituency level. And, you know, in terms of politicking in this country, you know, no party has control over these supporters at the local level. They may choose to be with you today, and tomorrow they can choose to be with another party. But having said that, you know, their resignation definitely cannot affect the party in any way, because we have more than enough competent people who can replace Ablai Cham as head of research of the GDC.
Replacing competent people is one thing, but this is another losing in another way around. It's about losing people, people leaving your party.
You know, I can tell you without no iota of doubt that the number of people that are joining the GDC on a daily basis far outweighs the number of people that are leaving, and that is why I'm saying that when people make a choice to join a political party, unfortunately in this country, is not usually based on policies and programs of the party. It's usually based on individualism and personality issues. And that is why it is always easy for people to come in and go out again, particularly if they realize that whatever personality issues that compel them to join the party could not be achieved or could not be met, and then they will leave. And, you know, no party has control over that. Over the years, we've always had news of, you know, 500, hundreds of people, you know, crossing the carpet from one party to another. But it has not in any way dwindled the support base of that particular party. So that's why I believe that this is just one of those things. But we are moving on.
What is the problem within GDC? Because like you said, other people resigned from other parties or they defected from one party to another. But over the years, from 2018 down to 2019, we have seen massive resignations from the GDC, including the deputy party leader and many other people. What is the problem? Why are people not staying in your party?
Massive is a very strong word. Each time resignations are announced, it's just usually between 5 to 7 people. And like I said, you know, some of them resign for personal reasons. Some of them probably, like I said, their expectations have not been met, because I'm sure they had expectations when they initially choose to join the party. But because perhaps those expectations have not been met, they've decided to move on. And, you know, that's life. I probably may choose to quit one day if I am not convinced that the policies and programs that I thought GDC was good at, and what I was convinced that when they are elected at the highest office of this land, they should be able to implement better policies and better programs than the current government. If I am convinced that that is no longer the situation, I may choose to leave as well. But the fundamental principle here is that whatever we do in terms of politics in this country should be based on policies and programs rather than individualism. I'm not insinuating in any way that what I am about to say may have been the reason why these people left. But, you know, I have had many times when people would say, you know, I had a naming ceremony, Mama Kande didn't turn up, or I had a funeral, you know, and Mama Kande or nobody from the GDC turned up. You know, those are really trivial issues, because I'm not sure whether anybody will join a political party simply because you want the party leader or the executive to be attending naming ceremonies and funerals. I think the underlying principle why anybody would want to join a political party is because you are convinced that that particular party has the best of policies and programs, and in your conviction is the party that is right for the country. And then if anybody is to leave also, should leave based on the fact that one is convinced that, you know, in terms of those policies and programs, you feel that the party is not on the right track in implementing such policies and programs. And even when we are electing a president, a head of state for this country, I think that should be the principal consideration, whether the person has the best policies and programs for the nation or not. And then if we are judging the failure or success of a leader also, it must be based on whether the person was able to effectively implement the policies and programs that he or she promised the Gambian people. But you know, one issue also is that being in the opposition in this country is very difficult. It's not an easy feat. So some people will at some point leave. But most of the time, like I said, people are not leaving because of monetary issues. You know, it's always usually based on these, like I said, trivial matters of, you know, maybe somebody like the Wolf who say, Ki Yegudma, you know, Nyimbuka Mol Danku, things like that. And, you know, I don't think we'll definitely move this country forward if we continue to bring ourselves to that low level of thinking, really.
How resilient and how united is GDC?
No, trust me, we are very united, and we are a close-knit party as well. But that doesn't preclude the fact that we have our different views. We have our different opinions, and sometimes, you know, the debate can be heated. It can sometimes be very tough. You know, we disagree to agree. But overall, really, we have a very good working relationship. But, you know, like I said, people join parties for different reasons. And in my experience, in politics of this country since 1997 to date, I have come to realize that most of the people in these various political parties are not there because they believe that the party has the best programs and policies, but because maybe the leader is a friend of yours or is a relative, or, you know, you are from the same communities, things like that. And, you know, if we want to move forward as a nation, we have to change and refocus our national political discourse to focus more on, you know, national issues, like what can we do as a nation to improve on our roads, on our electricity supply, on our water supply, and how do we move forward as a nation to even start building railways in this country? How do we as a nation strengthen our economy to ensure that at least we will have that little space to be able to determine how we run our government without the undue interference of people who do not have the permanent personal stake in our nation, like the IMF and World Bank? How do we as a nation, you know, ensure that we come up with the best programs for our health sector to ensure that we no longer rely on ambulances? Imagine, for instance, I'm from Bara. When somebody is sick, extremely sick at the SO Health Center, and is supposed to be evacuated to Banjul, you know, you will hear the ambulance and the sirens. As soon as it gets to the wharf and there's no ferry, it can stay there for another 2 hours waiting for the ferry. The possibility of that patient dying is very high. Now, shouldn't we start thinking about getting paramedics, where we'll have helicopters stationed in all these health centers or with the fire service to ensure that, you know, evacuation is easy and very fast? You know, these are the things that we should be talking about. As far as the president is concerned, Barrow and his government, have they been able to meet the demands of the Gambian people in terms of the policies and programs that they have promised the Gambian people, that they promised to implement? You know, if we are going to remove them, we have to remove them based on their inability to meet those requirements and those demands and those aspirations of the Gambian people. If we are going to vote them in again, it must be based on that. But, you know, too many times we have wasted our time arguing over trivial matters. And, you know, sometimes, trust me, Omar, it makes me sick.
Let's talk about, you don't have a control over people coming in and out because they have, most of them don't believe in the principle, the policies and programs. But observers said it is the impression that GDC gave to people that they have money. That's why so many people are running to the party, but because they don't believe in your policies and programs, but because there is an impression that there is money in GDC, and if they come, they will get their lion's share or they will get their share.
No, but even if we had money, it's not meant to be used to be distributed among party officials. It is geared towards, you know, addressing the concerns of the Gambian people on whose behalf these funds are being raised. Because remember, once you register a political party, it becomes a national institution. The reason being that the Constitution requires that in order for you to register a political party, or the electoral laws, is that you need to have 10,000 voters across the country to nominate you, to accept, the registration of that particular political party. So it doesn't just say that if you have $1 million, you can go out there and register a political party. You have to have 10,000 voters across the country. Technically that means that the party becomes a national institution. It belongs to the people. So therefore, whatever funds are raised have been raised on behalf of the Gambian people. We're not saying that everything should be injected back to the benefit of the people, but at least 80% should be injected back to the benefit of the people. And that's why the GDC has been well known for intervening in terms of, fencing gardens for our women folk, building mosque, markets, and also sometimes, constructing culverts, as the need may arise. And, for people to think that because we have money, when they come, the money is there to be shared among people, that's a misconception.
Are you not downplaying the resignation of these six people?
No, I'm not downplaying anything. I'm telling you, I have already acknowledged that Ablai was an executive member. But the rest, they are supporters, good supporters, good people. But like I said, they've probably decided that their expectations, as far as they were concerned, have not been met by the party, and they've decided to leave. So we are okay with that.
So what is the major challenge that GDC is facing currently?
Well, as far as I know, we are not facing any major challenge. We are focused, so determined to win the next elections, and that is what we are working towards. In the process, though, hopefully we'll continue to get more people in, and somehow also losing some people. That's normal.
So you're hopeful that you will win next election?
Very hopeful. I have said in many fora that even if we do not win outright, we'll definitely form the next government of this country.
GDC is credited for bringing Jammeh's leadership to an end, excuse me. Because according to experts, they said the votes that Mama Kandeh got in the election in 2016 could have gone to Jammeh. Currently, we have seen what happened between Barrow and Dabo. What do you think about the fate of this government?
Yeah, well, I would begin by saying that constitutionally the president has the power to appoint and dismiss his ministers. However, one would have thought that since this was a coalition government, or is still a coalition government, I want to believe, that they would have stick together, to understand that the country is bigger than all of them that are in that government, that the country is bigger than all those party leaders in those respective parties that constituted the coalition, such that they would be more concerned about the policies and programs that they would really want to implement to upgrade the lives of the Gambian people, to upgrade the standard of living of the Gambian people, to really focus on institutional reform as they have promised, to focus on the reform of the civil service, security reform. These people should have definitely been together through and through to the end. But you see, the issues now that are affecting the coalition has nothing to do with policies and programs. It has nothing to do with the interests of the country. It's all political. It's all politically motivated. Who should lead or who should be in power for the next 5 or 10 or 15 years, that's the bone of contention. I have no doubt that the bone of contention has never been that these people have argued so much and so vigorously against each other in terms of what types of programs or policies should we implement for the betterment of the Gambian people. So it's just unfortunate that whilst Barrow is there, so focused on securing maybe a second and a third term, others also thinking that no, Barrow has betrayed the principle of the coalition, he shouldn't be there. At the end of the day, it is the Gambia that will suffer, and the Gambians deserve better than that, because when
GDC's Mamba Jai, who is their public spokesperson, speaking to Omar Walida there. So with that, we will come to the end of today's program. We thank you very much for joining us. We'll see you tomorrow. Goodbye.